keep it on me. I can't let her crib unless that chopper on me. She say on the shit, she gon' put it on me. You can keep this out, I'ma smoke this OG. Remember way back.
FreshSqueezed family, episode 24. It's been a minute. It's been like 2 weeks since I dropped an interview. If you have not checked out that last video, go check it out. It's a little different basketball vlog, but overall, this is our 6th interview. All the way from Richmond, Virginia, my boy E. White pulled up to FreshSqueezed.
Of course.
Also part of It's the Roots. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong.
No, it's perfect, man. It's perfect.
But what's going on, bro? What's going on?
Not a whole lot, man. Been chilling.
Yeah.
Been chilling. Eating good. Spending time with family. You know, we came out here for a little wedding or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's been amazing, man.
Yeah, for sure. I always started off, y'all already know, how has Corona been affecting you and just your family, the travel situation, just everything, bro? How has it been affecting you?
Yeah, so COVID has been interesting, man. Obviously because like I try to like study a lot in terms of like health and like what COVID actually is, the history behind pandemics and stuff like that. But it's been treating me well, man. Like as far as my work really hasn't been affected. It's given me a lot of time to spend with Candace, who's my wife, obviously. Read, I've probably read more now than I ever have. And then just working out, man. It's just a lot of time to work on myself, which I'm super appreciative of.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's pretty much been saying that, you know, it's been a blessing as far as having this much time on your hands. Reading, that's the first one I heard, though. Nobody said that they've been reading, so that was definitely different for sure. So I know, well, first let me get this out the way.
Yeah.
I'm not just bringing like a random healthy person on the pod. I don't want y'all to think that. So tell them like exactly what you do in health, you know what I'm saying, so they can trust what you got to say later on.
Yeah. So I'll give you the long answer for the sake of the pod, you know what I'm saying? But, grew up household, Maryville, Indiana. Mom was a real big health nerd, right? A big naturalista. She was one of them moms that was like, if I was sick, I had a cold or something like that, like, Mom, I need to go to the doctor. She's like, boy, you don't need to go to no doctor. You better go in there. She'll make us some onion soup. You know what I'm saying? She'll make us like some tea or something like that. And I'll go to sleep. And then like 2 days later, I'll be straight. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like growing up, I had like little sicknesses here, little common colds here and there. But I don't like that, man. I'm like, can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I don't like that shit, bro. Like, real shit. Like, I do not like that. So I was kind of like determined to like make sure that I never get sick ever again, right? And so just kind of from my upbringing, I went to school for dietetics and nutrition at Purdue University. And just learned a lot, man. But the school smarts was good, but it was the actual experience that was life changing for me personally. So 2013-ish is when Candace and I started getting real serious, and she actually was diagnosed with something called prolactinoma. And for those who don't know what prolactinoma is, it's a non-cancerous tumor that was sitting on, like, the eyes go behind the head and it intersect behind the brain at some point. And there was a non-cancerous tumor that was sitting on that, causing real bad headaches. So she was looking at light, and she would just go crazy. Like, she was crying. It was bad, bro. Like, it got to the point where I'm like, dang, like, I can't leave the crib. I got to make sure that she's taken care of. So eventually we end up taking her to the doctor. Doctor takes a look at it or whatever and just says, oh, this is prolactinoma. So you should be taking this medicine called cabergoline. One of the side effects of cabergoline is headache.
What?
Yeah, so I'm like, nah. So I was like, so she didn't even take it. I'm like, you're not taking, like, there's no way. So I just did my own digging, used some of the research I gathered from Purdue and, just the internet, right? You can kind of Google anything that you want to, and found out that there was a deficiency in potassium. So obviously that was increasing her prolactin levels, and we were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and put some potassium into her diet. Bro, we put her on like some smoothies with like orange juice, bananas, and some spinach and kale and stuff like that. I want to say 2 weeks later, headaches was gone. Headaches is gone. So we go back to the doctor. Doctor's like, oh, the tumor is shrunk. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Wow. And from then on, she hasn't had headaches like at all. Like, Candace doesn't get sick like at all, bro. And same thing for me, like, I don't really experience a lot of sickness myself. A lot of my friends do, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I got to make sure that my people, my friends, they know about what they can do to stay healthy. So that kind of just took me on a dive. I ended up attending something called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And they're actually based out of New York, and received some certification through there. Got an even deeper dive into holistic medicine. And I just been a huge health junkie from then on. Now, just experiment with myself, trying to gain my own experience, but also sharing insight with people that ask questions, and that's kind of how It's the Roots was established.
That's crazy, bro. So basically, she would get these terrible migraines. They prescribed her medicine that gives her migraines.
Makes zero sense.
And it came to be that potassium was the answer. That's crazy, bro. And it really, the reason I wanted you to get you on here was, this finna sound so dumb after everything you just said, but
no, it's all good. Yeah,
bro put me onto the kiwis, bro. Like, like I cannot lie. Like when I broke my arm, I got like super big, and I seen that you was like posting these kiwis every day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, what's to the kiwis, man? You put me on game, and like I've been slimming down ever since. So I'm like, he must know what he's talking about, bro.
Yeah, man, yeah. So like when it comes to fruit, I love fruit.
Yeah.
And like I've been eating all kinds of fruit these days. You ever had cacao?
Mm-mm.
So it's a bean, right? It's this big brown bean thing, but that's where all chocolate originates from, the cacao bean. And you cut it open, it's got like these little pods on it, but they're delicious, dude. Like cacao, I've been eating a lot of that. I've been eating a lot of kiwis, a lot of bananas. Just all fruit in general, man. It's the body needs it.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like this has already been like in you since birth, because you say your mom's was a big health junkie.
Yeah.
So is what you're doing now like something you always wanted to do, or it just came when you met Candace and you're like, okay, we need to figure this out? Or was this like something that you already knew you wanted to do?
Freshman year of high school, I wanted to be an architect. And then I took a CAD class. I'm like, hell no, I'm not. This ain't for me, bro. This ain't for me. But no, I mean, like just going through school, I mean, I was kind of drawn to some of those science courses. I always like to do a little bit more digging. So it was kind of close to the end of high school, starting to like when I started school, that's when it's really started to develop. And I was just seeing the results, bro. Like, that was the biggest thing. That's what kept me going.
So with you finding out that, you know, the medicine that they prescribed her didn't work and it was as simple as potassium, does that lead you to like not ever listen to doctors for real?
That's a great question, man. And I think that Western medicine has its place. I think that doctors have a place. They're responsible for, you know, you break your arm. You can't just be like, oh, well, just go drink some tea. You
right.
Get straight. Like, nah, you might need surgery on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that doctors have their place, but I think that the natural way is a lot safer. I think that the natural way, it may be a little bit slower, but it's always going to be something that works longer term. So from that experience, I was like, nah, man, I don't really go to the doctors a lot myself. And I'm weary because they get trained a certain way. Doctors get trained to like prescribe medicine. You ask most physicians, how many nutrition courses have you taken? I actually did it, bro. Like I was asking people that came into my job. I was working at Dairy Queen. I'll never forget it. This physician came in, old guy, right? So I'm like, I know he got the keys because I was still fascinated, but I wasn't as deep as I was. And I'm like, just for shits and giggles, how many nutrition courses have you actually taken? He was like, you know, I think I took one, and that was back in 1990. I'm like, one nutrition course. So for me, like, that's not gonna cut it for me personally. And I think people should know. People should always look to get that second opinion. If you go to a doctor, I think it's great to, if you're feeling something, you don't know what it is, and you want to know, go to a doctor, get it checked out, get like actual insights to what is bothering you. But then just go back and try to figure out what natural ways can you reverse this. It's essentially the same thing that Candace and I did. Yeah,
that's an interesting take for sure. So with Corona being what it is right now, I know obviously you don't have like a definite answer, but what would you suggest for not only protecting yourself from getting it, but if you have been diagnosed, like what steps would you take to get rid of it?
Yeah, so let's say if I was diagnosed with COVID, right? And the biggest thing to understand is that we all have probably been we've probably all been faced with it at some point. Like if you think that wearing a mask, wearing gloves, that you have not been exposed at all, you're probably sadly mistaken. You probably touched the door, you probably did something, you forgot to wash your hands at some point, and you were exposed to it. But the body is adaptive, right? Our immune systems are designed to seek out what is not you as a part of yourself and defend itself, right? If it has the resources that it needs to fight off these different viruses, right? So it's all about resources. You want to think about human health in terms of like a savings account, right?
Okay.
So if you go to, let's say something happens, a tree falls through your house, you don't have insurance. If you're prepared for that, if you have money in the bank, ready to fund that. If you don't, now you're at the mercy of the tree sitting in the middle of your crib, rain falling through your crib. It's all bad at that point, you know what I'm saying? But if you got the financial backing to take care of that, then you're straight. How that correlates to human health. The body needs minerals, right? It needs healthy fats, it needs proteins, it needs all these different resources. If you have them, you're more prepared to fight off any type of virus. And if you don't, then obviously you see what can happen.
Right.
So for me, I would dive in directly into the mushrooms. So not psilocybin, which is the psychedelics that take you on trips and stuff like that. Yeah, but there's a class of mushrooms that I think doesn't really get enough credit, and it's functional mushrooms. Have you heard of functional mushrooms?
Yes and no. I'm not like familiar with them as far as what they do, but I have heard of them before.
Yeah, sure. So with functional mushrooms, there's a class. I mean, there's millions of different fungi out there, so you can pretty much find any type of mushroom anywhere. But there's a select few that have really had some scientific backing and some studies in terms of being able to support human health. So one of which is chaga, CHAGA, chaga mushroom, and it is packed with antioxidants. And it's packed with minerals. And mushrooms, actually, believe it or not, we actually have more similar DNA with mushrooms than we do with plants. Why is this important? Because our DNA is what gives the instruction to tell the body what needs to be done at what point in time, right? So chaga mushroom, I would go directly to that. It's a company called Four Sigmatic, and I purchased their chaga mushroom package. You can add them to a hot cup of water and drink it as tea. There's a group called reishi mushroom. Reishi is fantastic for sleep. So if it's anybody who's struggling with sleep,
big one.
And I'll dive into sleep and rabbit hole into why that's important in a second. But reishi mushrooms, I would dive directly into those because those are packed with antioxidants as well. It's good for the immunity, good for gut bacteria.
They're good.
Yeah. That's a huge thing, man. And the biggest thing is just keeping the colon clean. We got to be able to push toxins out because it's no way we're gonna not be exposed to toxins. We're gonna always be faced with them, whether it's in the water that we drink, whether that's in like the stuff that we touch, the air that we breathe. So I see you got the plants in here. That's love, man. Because that helps. But just fruits, vegetables, water, like a lot of water, and that's probably how I would face COVID if I was diagnosed.
The natural way, for sure.
The natural way.
A lot of good info in there, man, for real. We're going to get to what the people want to know, though, and I know they want to know this. What's the best way to get skinny, bro?
Okay,
that's going to be the biggest one. I know that's what everybody finna tune in to see. That's probably going to be the title of the video.
Okay.
How to get skinny the natural way, you know what I'm saying? Without all the other pills, fat burning, you know what I'm saying? The natural way.
Right.
What would you suggest?
So there's really three things that I think people should be mindful of if they're trying to manage weight, right? So first and foremost is sleep. We're in a society today where everybody's like, go, business. You kind of get like a trophy if you don't sleep that much. You sleep like 4 hours, and man, I only slept 4 hours, man. I'm ready to go. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're literally, you're actually drunk right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they actually show like the brain when it's on alcohol and the brain when it is on like less than a few hours of sleep, and like the brain looks the same. A lot of hormones are the same right there. So sleep, what happens with sleep is when we fall asleep, there are 3 hormones that get released. There's testosterone, right? There's human growth hormone, and the last one is melatonin, right? Everyone hears about melatonin, everyone's trying to supplement with melatonin, but there's a way that we can produce it naturally. But all of these 3 hormones have one really important factor. They do a lot of different things, but they're designed to go throughout the body and eliminate like toxins. They act almost as antioxidants within the body. And what they do is they just clean up everything and they help you rebuild and get stronger. They clean up. If that process doesn't happen, then your immunity is going to suffer. Your weight is going to suffer for various reasons. You're going to wake up that next morning and you're going to be more likely to eat junk food because your body is lacking sleep and it's lacking that restorative period. If I told you to go run 100 laps and I was like, okay, Mike, now you can rest. Okay, you like next day you probably can go run 100 laps again, right? Mm-hmm. But if I keep telling you run 100 laps, okay, run another 100 laps. Like it's good. The body is like man, I'm tired, man. Like, it's not gonna be able to fight off disease as good as it should. So I think sleep is of the utmost importance. I think it's actually more important than food. I mean, you can live without food for a couple of days. You go a few days without sleep, you're gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be bad news. So sleep is important. Kind of going into the same coin as sleep is this understanding of the circadian rhythm. Are you familiar with the circadian rhythm?
No.
So no worries. So we all operate on this clock, right? As human beings, we are designed to be awake when the sun is up and to sleep when the sun is down. And so there's this cascade of different hormones that get released at different points of the day. And if you understand what's being released at certain points, you can kind of maximize your health. So in terms of the circadian rhythm, when it gets close to you time to go to sleep, you want to make sure the body understands that it's time to actually go to sleep. So today's society, we are in front of our computer, we have our phones when it's time to go to sleep, and we have photoreceptors in our eyes that are constantly trying to monitor what day it is, what time of the day it is. And so this blue light exposure from our screens, whether it be your phone, TV, whatever it is, it's sending this subconscious message to the body that says, hey, it's daylight time. You need to be awake. So I'm going to release these hormones that's just going to help you out so that way you could be awake. Problem is that while cortisol, which is that hormone that's released while you're awake, while that's supposed to help you during the daytime, that's supposed to be on the decline as we're going to sleep. So something like switching your screens to red, you can put a software on your computer called Flux. It's f.lux.com. It's absolutely free and it's set to the time of day. You can set it to whatever time zone you're on and your screen will actually change from that blue color to an orange color. You can do the same thing with your cell phone and not with Flux, but I think iPhone has like a built-in like night mode.
Nighttime,
But there's also a way you could take it a step further. And I have a video on this, but you could turn your screen red. So just for like, I'm gonna show you this. You can see like it's white right now. I do 3 clicks.
Oh, wow.
It turns red.
Yeah. And
that's just to help me out with sleep if I'm reading a book or something like that before I go to sleep. The big thing with understanding the circadian rhythm is understanding the food that you're supposed to be eating during that time. Like people are always saying like, oh, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Lunch is the most important. You hear it all, man.
Yeah,
Dinner is the most important meal of the day.
For sure.
It really doesn't matter what time of the day that you eat. Just the understanding that whatever that first meal is, make it nutrient dense as you possibly can. That's probably like aside from sleep, that's probably like the number one thing that's kept me healthy, me and Candace healthy, and kept us lean. When you go to sleep, or if you skip breakfast, you're participating in something called an intermittent fast.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people swear by intermittent fasting to help with weight loss and things like that, but it's not about waiting 8, 9, 12 hours before you eat and then you pig out on burgers and fries and donuts and stuff like that. Whatever that first meal is, whether it's the morning, the evening, let it be nutrient dense because the body it's in a prime state to absorb nutrients. Your insulin is very sensitive during that time. So whatever you eat that first meal, your body's gonna absorb it and hurry up and put it where it's supposed to be. So if you put that first meal my first meal usually is a smoothie. I love it. You drink smoothies, bro?
Yeah, I love smoothies.
I love smoothies, bro. I put all kinds of shit in my smoothies. I put blueberries and mangoes and bananas. I use orange, I use coconut water for my smoothies. I put kale in my smoothies. Pretty much anything I could put in there, I'll put in there. You know what I'm saying? And that's usually my first meal. And I'm also a fan of adding like these adaptogens, right?
Like
you gave your face like what?
Like the kind that you get at Smoothie King, like the energy boosters, or those like not the good kind.
That's not necessarily the good kind. I like Smoothie King because what they're trying to do, because they're trying to offer smoothies out to people, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But they have some misses. So adaptogens, this is gonna tie me kind of into like this third little space that I've talked about. So we got sleep, we got understanding your circadian rhythm and when to eat and what to do once it's your first meal, whatever time of the day it is. But this last hidden factor is stress. And stress is not something that we usually talk about in the health and fitness space. You know, it's not really like the sexy thing. We all go through it, man. We all go through real life shit that we gotta, you know what I'm saying, try to figure out an answer to. But there are ways that we can manage this stress. You know, you put a piece of fruit and some French fries in front of anybody, but like, yo, what's the healthier option? Everyone's gonna say the fruit,
for sure,
right? Everyone knows that it's built into our DNA. But what drives a person to eat the fries over the fruit? And the answer normally is stress, right? So how do we fix this stress? We can do things like consume adaptogens. So adaptogens are this class of herbs that are responsible for if you're faced with a very stressful situation. There's three glands. There's the hypothalamus, there's the pituitary gland, and the adrenals, and they call it the HPA axis. And they're responsible for regulating stress responses throughout the body. These adaptogens keep stress normalized. So instead of you getting cut off on the road and you freaking out like what the like instead of doing that, you'll be more calm and collected in that moment. Same way if your girl snap off at you, like all girls do for Candace, I love you. But it happens, bro. So these adaptogens, so I'm a big fan of things like ashwagandha. It's an herb that you can take to help with stress. I'm a huge fan of Tulsi basil. Cordyceps is one of those mushrooms that I talked about earlier. It's another adaptogen, but the one I've been playing around with as of recently, because I experiment on myself, just so I know from experience, is rhodiola. And rhodiola is actually a nootropic. It is one of those herbs that can actually help boost cognition in the same way that it's helping keeping your stress low as well. So I'm a huge fan of those class of plants. And there's a bunch of them out there. You can kind of pick whichever one works best for you. But in terms of if you didn't want to spend the money, let's say somebody's like, man, I don't want to go experiment on an herb. Like I'm nervous of whether or not like I'm gonna have an allergic reaction or I just don't have the bread for it. Right. And that's completely understandable. There's things that we can do that's absolutely free that will help you manage stress and help manage your food choices and your decision making in times of stress. So one of the ones that I've been getting into as of recent is breath work, right? A lot of us are mouth breathers. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually not the way nature has intended us to be. We're actually the only species that will breathe through our mouth on a regular basis, especially when we're asleep too, aside from the domesticated dog. Everybody else breathes in through their nose. Brand new baby, you look at a baby, they're breathing in through their nose, and their stomach will go out a little bit and then it'll go back in. But we're so freaking conscious. We're like, oh, I don't want to stick my stomach out because I'm going to look fat, right? So it's subconsciously telling us like we should be breathing that way. But I know from my choir days that good breath is through the nose, diaphragm expands and the belly expands a little bit. And then once you breathe out on the exhale, then everything contracts in. And we want to train our bodies to do this as much as we possibly can. And the good news is that you don't have to keep doing it all the time. The body's adaptive. Eventually it'll realize like, oh, like we're breathing through our nose. We should keep on doing that. What this does is a couple of different things. There is a gas that we produce. It's called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide only occurs when we breathe in through our nose. And what that does is it widens blood vessels. So that way everything can be relaxed, everything can be calm and collected. But when we don't do that, we're not getting the nitric oxide production. Muscles are constricting. Everything is tight. It's no wonder we're stressed, right? My muscles is tight. I can't be calm and my muscles is tight.
Right.
So active breath work, you can do things like cold showers. And I know everybody hates the cold shower, but you'll notice that over time, like it gets easier. Like you'll get in the cold shower but after a while, like you get to and breathe and relax and stuff like that. And so I'm really a huge fan of the cold in terms of proactively building my stress response, and then the breath work as well. So the stress, I try to keep my stress relatively low. And that's not to say I don't face it. I just try to practice these different things in order to keep it on the lower side. And especially like when you have like an exhaustive weekend, right? So this weekend I flew into Chicago on Thursday. I went back to Maryville, Indiana, so that's like about an hour drive. About an hour drive to Maryville, back to Chicago, back to Maryville. I got to go to Indianapolis in the morning, then back up to Chicago, just because of all that's going on. And I saw this coming, right? Yeah. So in order to kind of like boost my immune system, I made sure I drank plenty of juice, right? You saw I got Simplicity juice. That's actually some really good juice, by the way.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to have all that in the thing. Because I'm not to cut you off, but I'm so glad you was going into all this stuff. Because I was like, I don't know what none of this is. Like, you can see in my notes right now, the ashwagandha, like all this. I'm like, bro, I really hope you explain what this is. Yeah. So when I put it in the video, they're not, you know what I'm saying, lost. But yeah, I definitely seen that juice. Because, I was hoping you brought some, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna bring some. I didn't have time to stop at the store before I came here. I was gonna come through for some, but nah, I ain't had time, man.
But yeah, that's a lot of info in there, man.
I know I kind of like a big word salad that I put out there, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm learning so much though. You know, I did know about the circadian rhythm you said, and that kind of goes along with like when they say you shouldn't chill in the bed throughout the day because then your body get used to, you won't be able to sleep at night. So same type of, and I've also heard about the light at nighttime as well too.
Word, right on.
So I've been trying to do that, but you know, it's hard, bro. You wake up in the middle of the night or you can't fall asleep, we quick to just get on the phone. So yeah. That red screen, I'm definitely gonna have to put that like in the description so people know where to find
I'll give you the steps. I'll show you before I head out.
So yeah, for sure.
Get that.
I'm gonna definitely put that in there. So with It's the Roots, like where do you want that to go? Like, do you want it to become a store, a health channel? Like, what do you want to do with that?
Yeah, so it's really my goal is just for it to be just like this big awareness. You know, I think that us as human beings, we have a right to know what heals us, right? We know what makes us sick, kind of, but we need to know what heals us. So we're trying different channels, different ways of going about our business. We're kind of like in the infancy strategy stage right now. I have a couple of clients that I've been working with in terms of providing them with actual health coaching insight and tips and meal plans and things of that nature. You know, Candace has really been helping me out as far as the business side of it, because I'm not really that, like with health, I'll sit here and talk about health all day, but one of my huge opportunities as a man is just on the operationals, making sure that everything is executed well. And I'm blessed because I'm married. Yeah, she can take care of that. she helps me out, and she really helps keep me grounded in that sense. Making sure that I'm on my shit. Yeah. So, but in terms of, to answer your question fully, as far as a store, we really like this idea of a farm. We just got into a house in June, and we put the garden in about a month. I want to say about, no, when I say a month, it's like maybe like a couple weeks ago. I want to say like maybe like 4 weeks ago. And it's already doing numbers, bro. Like we got the kale growing, the arugula growing, we got peppers in there, we got tomatoes growing in there. And so it's been fun for me, aside from the mosquitoes, because mosquitoes I gotta give me some chickens or something like that. You know, chickens eat bugs.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was doing some dabbling and like trying to figure out natural ways to keep bugs away from our garden. And neem oil is one that's what we've been using. But chickens are natural carnivore. They go crazy on the bugs. So yeah, I gotta give you some chicken. I got a plug on chickens too, which is sweet. But we really like this idea of gardening, getting people back into it. They say gardening is like printing your own money. Yeah, how nice would it be if like, oh man, I'm hungry, I just go in the backyard and grab something. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Mm-hmm. And so we like this idea of the summer camps and stuff like that for kids, starting them early, you know what I'm saying? Getting them involved and introducing them to planting food and growing food, you know, and in that same space, just provide as much advice and insight as we can. Of course, we want the teas and stuff like that too. You know, so that's fresh too, by the way.
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. And, bro, I mean, you got the knowledge, man, for real, you know, and very... I don't want to say likable because obviously you're a good person, but like I could see pulling up to the farm and you like, we got these green peppers and these chickens in the bag. Let me teach you a little something. You know what I'm saying? I can definitely see it. So I definitely hope, you know, that happens for y'all. Man, I know I'm sad we got to cut this short, but I know you say you got something to do after this, but definitely going to try to get you back, if not on here in person, like a live talk or something, because you just got so much knowledge, bro. And I feel like, especially with Corona going on right now, a big thing on people's mind is health. Health. You go to the gym, the gyms are packed, you see people outside walking around all the time. So it's definitely important right now. If you can leave with one thing, what one tip would you give somebody watching this that just wants to be overall healthier?
I would say introduce healthy fats into your diet if you haven't already. That's been like a big thing for me in terms of just like curbing my appetite. Our bodies run way better on fat as fuel versus sugar as fuel. What I mean by fat, because it's like, if you talk about anything, I'm talking about like healthy fats like chia seeds and hemp seeds, avocados and macadamias and the olive oil. Like, if you haven't introduced those into your diet, introduce them. You'll be surprised what actually happens. You'll start skipping meals effortlessly and be like, oh, I'm not really hungry. And just drink water, man. Like, just no more Coca-Cola, no more, you know what I'm saying, Kool-Aid. Like, try to stay hydrated, stay hyper-hydrated, and the body will take care of itself.
It's big, man. So y'all heard it here, man. Stop drinking pop for real. Straight up. Hey, now I can vouch for those chia seeds for sure though, because I got some right now. I put them in my smoothies or like in my water or whatnot. But yeah, man, E. White coming in from Richmond, Virginia, bringing in a lot of good information, trying to get the body right. We're going to do a part 2, man. I promise y'all we're going to do a part 2. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask y'all, what do y'all want to know? We're going to do it like that. What y'all want to know, we're going to ask them. E. White, man, go ahead, let them know where they can find you at. I'm going to have it in the video, of course. But what's your Instagram, man? Go ahead and let us know what that is. Yeah,
so you can find me on Instagram at Erik.White. And you can follow our brand at It's The Roots. That's just all the same word. It's not a whole on my page right now. It's a lot of content. Over the years, it's kind of evolved from me taking photos to more of the health as my journey continues. And It's The Roots. Expect way more content. It'sTheRoots.com is coming soon as well. It's just gonna be a whole library worth of knowledge on there. Yeah,
for sure, man. When y'all go check out his page, it's really colorful, man. Like, it's just gonna grab your attention. So make sure you go check that out for sure. E. White, episode 24, FreshSqueezed in the books. Y'all stay healthy out there.
You will find another me if you lucky. Yeah. I gave you all of me. Got on my ass and got me a bag and look at you calling me. You said I ain't shit and I thought I was toxic. How you fall for me?